Hey everyone, today we're going to discuss how to create your own infographic layout in Adobe InDesign. But first I wanted to show you how to create your own custom graphs and charts in Adobe Illustrator. So I'm going to take you through the process on how to create a pie chart and a line graph. Okay, so let's get started. As you can see, I've created two already here to give you an example of what I'm about to show you. I'm just going to select them and move them off to the side for now. And let's start with the pie graph first. So let's go ahead and work our way to the, it'll say column graph tool. Click and hold for the flyout and select pie graph tool. Now I'm just going to drag out the size roughly I want, so something like that is fine. And when you do that, a data window is going to appear, and this is where you apply your data, your figures to the pie chart. Now for this example, I'm just going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to create two, and one's going to be 11% and one's going to be 25%, and then I'll transfer these over to InDesign. So the first cell will be 11, and then I'm just going to move to the right of it and type in 89. I'm going to apply that, so click this check mark, and you can see there's the 11% pie slice in comparison to the 89%. I'm just going to close that. I'm going to make two copies of this. I'm going to drag out a copy here, and then I'm going to drag out another copy and move it to the pasteboard. This will be your master in case you have to create another one. You will reference from this or draw from this. So always create a copy from this master just by holding Option or Alt and dragging, okay? But never delete the one that's on the pasteboard because you may need one, and I'll show you why in a sec. So I'm going to just take the stroke off this. I don't want a stroke on these pie charts. So let's go ahead, and the first thing I want to do is click on this second one, and let's change the data. So we have this one at 11%, and I want this one to be 25%. Click on it once with your selection tool, right click, and then select data. And I'm just going to change these cells to 25 and 75. And I'm going to apply that as well. And now I can close that. So right now we just created two simple pie graphs. I do want to take this one step further and knock out the center point of these and just have like an outer type chart, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. First thing I want to do as well is I'm going to select both of them together, and I'm going to go to Object and Ungroup. This will appear, and basically it's saying if you ungroup them, you will no longer be able to change the data associated with these pie charts. And that's why I created a secondary master one that I put on the pasteboard. Hit yes. Now I can grab my selection tool and click on the 11% pie, and then hold shift and click on the 25% and just pick a color. I've created a couple global swatches here for this theme, and oops, I want to change the fill to that right there. So perfect, I have two simple pie charts. I'm going to grab my ellipse tool now. I'm going to click that, make my way to the center point of the first graph, hold shift and option, and then just drag out a circle or an ellipse. Something like that is good, okay? I'm going to go to my selection tool, hold down option, and drag out another copy and just align it to that version there. Let's go ahead and select both of them together. So I have everything selected, the ellipse overlay and the charts as well. So, and then now I'm going to go to my shape builder tool right there, click that, and make your way, hover over into these center shapes here, because we're going to knock out all this area and just have the outer part of the chart. Gives it a nice look. So I'm going to hold down option because that's the way to knock out these areas. If I don't, it's just going to combine the center points. So hold down option and then just knock out that area. You can drag the way I showed you, or you could just hold down option and click. Either way works. So there you go. I have two charts, pie graphs I should say, on the fly there that I've created. So we'll use these in a sec. I'm just going to pull them off to the side. These will go into our InDesign layout, but I wanted to show you how to create it. Let's create a line graph tool now, which we will also put into our infographic layout in InDesign. Same process, go to the pie chart, pie graph tool, click and hold. And in this case, I want the line graph tool. I'm gonna click that. And again, I'm gonna drag out the size roughly that I want. And this one's a little bit more complex in terms of I'm creating 4 lines in this line graph. And I'm just gonna start plugging in some figures. So each row, or each column I should say, is associated with one of the lines. So in this case, I'm just gonna start plugging in some numbers, and I'll show you how it looks. So I've just applied all the figures to this data window, and you can see now that the lines have appeared. So this is one of the lines, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth. And so when I'm done, I'm just gonna hit OK. And as you can see, there is my line chart. Now you can go in with your selection or direct selection tool, and you can change these the colors of these lines here if you want. And you can make them the same theme as you have in your global swatches. Just make them different colors so you can distinguish which one is which. And I'm going to show you how to add some other information to this chart in Adobe InDesign. So let's move on. Okay, so now it's time to start applying those charts to our infographic layout in Adobe InDesign. You see on my screen here some of the charts that we've already created in Illustrator. I'm going to pull those over to a new page, and we'll work on a new layout replicating the one that you see here on the screen. So let's get started. I have all the text and all the figures that I need, so I'm going to be pulling and starting new text frames, and then adding headlines and things of that nature. So I'm going to make my way down here. As you can see, there's a blank page. I have set up a guide systems of 3 columns, 3 rows. I do that in the master pages, so it applies to all the pages, okay? So I'm gonna start off fresh here, and the first thing I wanna do is I want to bring in this illustration that I already have here. So why don't I just copy this so I don't have to open the file. I'm just gonna copy and edit, paste in place. Okay, so now I have all this area down below to start putting in those charts. So let's go grab them from Illustrator. I'm just gonna open that back up and zoom out here. Let's start with these 2 first. So I'm gonna just do Command C or Control C and just Command V. So we have those. Oops. And let's go get the line graph now. Command C. Oops. Let's try that again. Perfect. Okay, so I have that. I'm just going to close up Illustrator now. I don't need that. We're done with it. We've already created our charts. Now it's just a matter of laying them out in order that you see up here. Okay, so again, I'm just going to move these off to the side for now, and I'm going to zoom in, grab my type tool, click drag, and type facts about climate change. I am using Gotham Black as my main headline. And it is a 32 point. I'm just going to reduce the tracking just a bit. So I'm going to hold Option and left arrow key to bring that in a couple times. I'm also going to center it, and I'm going to make this color graph color 2. That's graph color 1 and graph color 2 are 2 of the colors that I'm going to use throughout this layout. So I'm going to go ahead, double click that, bring that down a bit. I'm I'm going to hold Option and drag out another text frame, and I'm going to change this text to global warming is real, semicolon. Global warming is real. Let's make this 14 point and Gotham light. Key evidence plus figures over time. For this headline, I'm just going to make it this red color just to give it some contrast, and I'm going to open it up to about +20 on tracking. As you can see, the tracking is right here in my properties panel under character. It's right here, VA with the 2 arrows. It's +20, so that's tracked out that much. Okay, so if I take my guides off, just press W on your keyboard. That will turn guides on or off. Okay, so that's good. Facts about climate change. And what do we want first? Let's bring in the 2 pie charts and 2 pieces of information to go with those pie charts. So ungroup. I'll grab this first one and bring it over here. I'm going to hold down my Shift and Option and just scale it down a little bit here. I should do those together so I'll get a sense. Scale them together. Oops. Okay. I'm going to click the one on the top. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and hit the down arrow key to bring that down a few. Something like that is good. Just want to see, okay, so they should be a little bit, even a little bit smaller. So let's scale them down a little bit more. I'm just going to be referencing what I have here just to make sure I'm pretty close. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to hold my Shift key. They're both grouped together. I'm going to hold my Shift key so I don't move it out of the place that I have it. And then I'm going to drag it to the left. Perfect. Okay, so let's bring in 2 more. Well, let's do one and then do a copy of it. This will be 11%. And the typeface there, I believe, was also Gotham Bold. So I stayed with Gotham font family for this entire project. Bold. About 24 point works. A little trick, so if the text frame is hanging over or is too large and you want it snug around your item, go ahead and just double click one of the corner handles and it will form right to the text. I'm going to bring that in, and you see my smart guides are telling me that that is centered. I'm going to hold Option and bring on another copy down here. And I'm going to make this 25%. Double click one of those handles and it'll... Okay, so let's make that graph color 1. Graph color 1. And also I'm going to make these 2. So if you want to grab just these parts here, you notice if I'm clicking, if I click the entire graph, it'll select the whole thing. Grab the white arrow, the selection, direct selection tool, and then you can just click on these segments, hold Shift, and click them together. And then I want this to be graph color 1, okay? Perfect, so I'm gonna go back to my type tool and create another text frame like so. And I have some text here that I'm gonna bring in. And so this is for the pie charts. I'm gonna copy that. want this to be Gotham. Let's go with book, and then 8 point. I believe that's what I did up here. It's light 8 point. Okay, light's good. Actually, let's keep it book. I like that a little bit better. I don't want the hyphenation turned on. See how it's greenhouse gas, 100 are humans. I'm just gonna select this, go down and see in your properties panel it says hyphenate. I'm gonna turn that off, and then it won't hyphenate the words within that text frame. So give it an even break. Let's go ahead and do something like that. Again, hold shift, drag another copy down below, and I'm basically just going to, I'm not creating any paragraph styles for this, I'm just kind of designing on the fly. And then I'm just going to click in there, select all, and Command V the new text. Yeah, I think this should even be a little bit smaller actually. So let's make it just a bit smaller. Perfect. Sometimes it just takes looking at it and seeing, okay, is that too big? These are too big, so let's make it 22. Let's make these 22. Let's center it in that text frame as well. Okay, perfect. Let's see if we can center it perfectly in there. Same with this. Perfect. Good. So we have our graph, our pie charts. We have our pullout here of just quick information of facts, 800 million, 11% of the world's population. Now let's go and bring in our line graph. So did I grab that? There it is there. And I'm going to bring that over. I'm going to line the left edge with the text frame on the top there. And then I'm just going to hold down Shift and Option and bring that, scale it down a bit. And by the way, you can also go into these segments in InDesign, grab the lines with your direct selection tool, and then you can change the stroke color to what you like. So let's do that. Keep one gray. So that's good. And then you can change the color of this stroke as well. So let's make that color there. Click this one here and do that. Make it a little bit smaller. Let's grab our selection tool again, highlight that. I'm actually just going to hold Shift and Command and bring it inwards like so. Perfect. So it's starting to come together. Obviously this takes some maneuvering and making sure that everything lines up nicely. So attention to detail is important when you're working with infographics, okay? I'm gonna move that down because I have to get in the headline of what that graphic is. That's important too, communication. So you can't just slap a graph on a page without telling viewers what that graphic is. So this one here is Arctic sea ice minimum over a 5-year period. And I'm just gonna kind of line it up with that line there, right with the 8. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna save that. And now I'm gonna show you how to create your own bar graph in Adobe InDesign. Okay, so let's add a bar graph in InDesign, and basically what we're gonna use here is the rectangle frame tool. It's one tool to use throughout this process. I'm gonna grab it right here, click on that, and I'm gonna create a long rectangular shape from the margin to the column guide. And the depth of it is what really matters. 0.17, yeah, that's fine. We can always alter that. I'm going to give this shape a fill, so graph color 1. And this is a tip that you may not know. This yellow handle here, you see that there? I'm gonna click that. That's gonna create 4 diamond shapes on each corner of my shape here. Let me just pull that over like so. I'm gonna grab this one on the top right-hand corner. You could drag in any one, and I'm just gonna drag that in. They all will go in, and it creates rounded corners. So that's a quick way of creating rounded corners to a rectangle or a square. I'm gonna click off here. I'm gonna click on the shape and do Command C. Go up to Edit and Paste in Place. That creates another version on top. I'm gonna click the one on top, and I'm just gonna bring in the handle to the right. So basically I'm altering the information within this bar graph. I'm gonna click the one in the back. I'm gonna make it black, and I'm gonna give it a tint of 30%. So there's our first one, and basically you can go in and start increasing or decreasing the information in these bar graphs. Okay, so I'm going to put my guides back on. I'm going to select both shapes, hold down Alt, drag another copy, something like that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Edit, Step and Repeat. I did put 3 in here, so it created 3 more versions of it. It's a shortcut instead of actually having to drag different versions in. Hit OK, grab your selection tool, click on the click on the second graph information, and then click on the 4th one. Let's change that color to graph color 2. And then you could just start maneuvering some of the information here. Maybe this one was a lot, this one was right here, and maybe this is like this. Let's bring this one back in. Something like this, okay? And so these can be altered at any time. Let's see size-wise how that looks in comparison. So it is a little too big. I'm going to select all of it, Shift and Command, and bring it in a little bit. And then when you have them all selected, you could still have everything selected and bring this handle all the way across, and they will all come across together. Same thing over here. Okay, so let's make sure that these are all on that margin. Again, attention to detail is very important. Any one of these is off by even the slightest inch makes a big difference. So there we go. We have that there. And what did we do up here? I'm gonna put in some years, 15 to 19. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna hit my type tool. I'll just roughly bring it in like so and say 2015. I'm gonna highlight it. I want this to be 8 point, and let's make it, I'll change the year there. I see it's not right, so let's make it Gotham bold. And that should be 2015. Gonna bring it in just a bit there. I'm gonna hold my Option key down until you get to right there. Okay, so you can see it's aligned in the center of my bar graph, and it's also equally spaced with the first version. Then just let go. Go up to Edit, Step and Repeat, and it'll make, you know, if you want 4 or 5, you just put as many as you want, and it will repeat the same process. Hit OK. Then it's just a matter of going in and changing the years here. There you go, and 19, perfect. Double click, perfect, okay? Actually, what I want to do here is also make it, I want to match the type, color to the graph color. So let's go ahead and let's grab our eyedropper tool and click on that area here. And then with my eyedropper tool still selected, I'm just going to hover over this version here, click drag, click drag. Oops, let's try that again. There we go, I got it. Okay, so let's do the same thing with this. So I'm going to click on the color, and then click on the color. Oops. There we go. Perfect. So now the color matches the actual bar graph there. And again, if you need to change this, you just go in and kind of alter things that way. So that's a cool way of doing a bar graph right in InDesign. You don't have to worry about creating it in Illustrator. So I'm going to click and copy the headline to go with this, or the little header, and then I'm just going to Command V, and put it something like that. Now I want the bottom. That's why I'm going to bring in another guide here. I'm going to bring it, and I'm going to make it right at the bottom of that line graph. Okay, and I'm going to collect all this. I'm just going to nudge it up. Again, attention to detail. It's very important. So now you know that the bottom of that bar graph is aligned with the bottom of my line graph, okay? That leaves us with this bottom hole down here, which I'm going to show you how to create this little fact box with key information. So again, I'm just going to create a text frame for now. And I have some text that I'm going to bring in. And basically I want it over 4 columns. So this will be like facts and figures, but each nugget of information has its own little headline. So I don't really have to put a headline or a little header above that. So I'm going to just do Command V and paste all that in. Now what did I have up here? I had Gotham book at about 7 point. So let's do that. Gotham book. And let's go 7 points, so it's much smaller. And I'm going to make this 4 columns, okay? So up here, do you see? Right now it's set to 1. I'm going to set it to 4 columns, so each piece of information has its own column. And let's also increase the, what did I have here? 9.5, okay. Okay, perfect. Might be a little bit longer. I am going to make these little headers. I'll give it graph color 1 color, and then make them bold, just so they stand out. Make that bold. I'm just going to cut that last piece out there. Oops. One more to go here. I'm just going to make it color 1 and bold. Good. So now that I have all my information in, and I've set the formatting for the headers, there we go. I'm going to add column rules to this. So I'm going to hold my Option key and double click on that. That'll bring up your text frame options. You can also do Control B to bring those up, or you can go to Type and go to Object and then Text Frame Options. Okay, but the easiest way is just hold down your Option key and double click on it. Now the column gutters right now is set at 0.1667. I'm just going to increase that a little bit. And then I can fix the type in there. 0.25 is good. I'm going to make my way here to column rules, click that, and I want to insert column rules. You see now that they're set, and I want that's pretty thick, those lines, so I'm just going to go to 1 point, make it 0.25 so it's subtle, and then I'm just going to hit OK because I do want a solid line there. That's fine. Then I can go in and start altering the text again. So I'm going to bring that up. Perfect. So that's what I want right there. Just going to put my guides back on and then just nudge it down. I do want it centered to the page, so I'm just going to go up here and align it to the page. Your alignment tools, click that, align to page, and I want to make sure that it's centered. There we go. Click that, move it down a bit. And then you're going to eyeball everything a little bit. I'm going to move that down twice, maybe. This move down twice, just so it's aligned at the bottom. This is where you start maneuvering things as final touches, but you get a sense here, you get the idea of how to create an infographic layout using Adobe Illustrator to create pie charts and line graphs, and then using the rectangle frame tool to create your own bar graph right in InDesign, adding key pieces of information at the bottom, and then factual numbers like this with a little bit more information, giving the reader a lot of information without presenting a layout which is text heavy. Okay, this is all visual, and so that's how you create an infographic layout. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye now.